For most of us, buying a home has always been this super complicated, really expensive, and honestly, just a painful process. But what if one company decided to spend over $11 billion to change all of that, to create one seamless, all-in-one experience? Well, that's exactly what Rocket Companies is doing. Let's dig into how they're betting they can completely transform the way we buy and sell our homes. And this is where it starts. A pretty blunt assessment from Varun Krishna, the CEO of Rocket Companies. That is a bold thing to say, right? It gets right to the heart of the problem he says his company is on a mission to solve. So what's so broken about home buying? Well, it really all comes down to the way the industry is built. For years and years, it's just been this tangled, disconnected system that is incredibly confusing for the average person. I mean, think about it for a second. You've got real estate agents over here, mortgage brokers over there, then title companies, appraisers, inspectors, and they're all kind of operating in their own little worlds. It feels like you're stuck in this frustrating maze, and it just leaves you feeling completely overwhelmed and, frankly, pretty powerless. So the core issues are pretty clear. The whole industry works in these silos, where every part of the process is totally separate. And that fragmentation, it leads to higher costs and just a clunky experience, because all these companies are competing with each other instead of working together for you, the buyer. And Krishna himself calls the mortgage industry very predatory, which is just a stunning thing to hear from a guy on the inside. Okay, so you've got this broken system. What's the fix? Well, Rocket is proposing a pretty radical solution. Just bring everything together under one big digital roof. And the heart of their entire strategy is this idea of an end-to-end experience. The goal is simple, really. They want to create a single, modern platform where you can do everything. You search for a home, you get your financing approved, you close the deal, and you even manage your home after the sale, all in one place. One app, one journey. That's the dream. And this really shows you the stark difference. Over on the left, you've got the old way, totally disconnected, expensive, confusing, with almost zero transparency for you. And on the right, that's Rocket's vision. One smooth process, aiming for lower costs, all on a platform that's actually built for the consumer and promises total transparency. It's a really compelling promise, you have to admit. This quote right here really drives home just how big their ambition is. They're not trying to be just a mortgage company anymore. No, they want to be the homeownership company. They want to integrate every single step of the journey at a scale that, as they say, the industry has literally never seen before. So how do you even begin to build a home ownership company from the ground up? Well, you start by going on a massive shopping spree. And let me tell you, this all happened so fast. In March of 2025, Rocket just completely stunned the industry. They announced a plan to buy Redfin, which is a huge real estate brokerage and home search website. Then, just a few weeks later, boom, another massive deal to buy one of their biggest mortgage rivals, Mr. Cooper. And the price tags on these things were just staggering. Over $1.7 billion for Redfin, which gives them a gigantic audience of home buyers right at the beginning of their search. And then a jaw-dropping $9.4 billion for Mr. Cooper, which just solidifies their power in the mortgage world. So you add that all up, and that's an investment of over $11 billion. So you have to ask, why spend all that money? Well, it really boils down to three main goals. First, they want to create a stronger, more stable business by owning more of the pie. Second, they get access to all this new data from Redfin and Mr. Cooper, which is going to fuel their AI. And third, and this is the most important one for us, they want to use all this integration to finally make the whole experience better for the consumer. Okay, so this all sounds great on paper, right? But is any of it actually working? Let's take a look at some of the early data. And according to Rocket's leadership, the answer to that question is a big, definitive yes. They're saying the initial results from plugging their mortgage services directly into Redfin's website have been incredibly promising. This chart tells a pretty powerful story. In just the first few weeks after the deal went through, about 250,000 people using Redfin started a mortgage application with Rocket. That's pretty good. But by September of that same year, that number had more than doubled to 500,000. It's a really clear sign that people are actually jumping on board with this more connected process. So, there's no doubt that this massive consolidation is changing the entire landscape. But it also brings up some really important questions about what comes next. While CEO Varun Krishna talks a lot about building partnerships and fostering collaboration, the reality is that Rocket is building an absolute behemoth. And whenever one company gets this much power and control over an entire industry, you have to ask, what does that mean for competition? What does it mean for consumer choice? And at the end of the day, what does it mean for the very people they say they're trying to help? So I guess the ultimate question is this. Is Rocket's huge bet a genuine effort to fix the system that's been broken for decades? Or is it simply a power play to own that system from start to finish? The answer to that is probably going to define the future of how all of us buy our homes.